Good afternoon, students. Welcome once again to our e-learning program. I still remain your mathematics teacher, Mr. Ndube. Before we begin our lesson this afternoon, let's have a look at the assignment you were given during our previous lesson. Question number 1. Polygon with 7 sides is called heptagon. Heptagon. That is the answer to that. Number 2. Convert 5 kilometers to millimeters. Remember, you were told during our last discussion that converting from bigger unit to a smaller unit of length we do multiplication. In the case of changing kilometers to millimeters, we use the connection between the two of them. So the connection between kilometers and millimeters is such that 1 million millimeters is equivalent to 1 kilometers, meaning that converting kilometers to millimeters we multiply by 1 million. And that is exactly what we demonstrated here by saying 5, which is given to us here, times 1 million, which will give us 5 million millimeters. And that is the answer to that particular one. Number 3, calculate the perimeter of the following. The first one we have here is a rectangle. Rectangle of length 13 centimeters, of width 9 centimeters. Let's look at the solution. The perimeter of the rectangle is what we are looking for. Then the length is given to us as 13 centimeters. The width is given to us as 9 centimeters. Remember the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle, and it is given as perimeter equal to 2 bracket length plus width. And that is the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle. Applying the values we have here in our formula, length is represented by 13 centimeter. That of width is to be represented by what? 9 centimeters as given in the question. Now we can now begin to apply them here. Here we have our perimeter equal to then 2 bracket. In place of our length we write 13 plus. In place of our width we write 9, which we have here. Then we can now clear the bracket. Remember that this bracket means multiplication here. Between 2 and bracket, it means multiplication. So we have our 2 here. 13 plus 9 will give us 22. So 2 times 22 will give us 44. Remember, I repeat again, this bracket you have here represents multiplication between 2 and everything you have inside the bracket. So you have it as 2 times, that's in place of the bracket, 13 plus 9 will give us 22. So 2 times 22 will give us 44. And that is the answer to that particular one. Then we move to the next question. That is a square this time around. This shape is a square. A square of length 5.5 centimeters. We are to find the perimeter of that particular shape. Let's look at it immediately. Then the perimeter of a square is what we are looking for. And the length of it is given to us as 5.5 centimeters. To perimeter of a square, the formula for calculating the perimeter of a square is equal to 4 times length. 4 times length. Sometimes we call it 4 length or 4L. Alright, as the case may be. So we apply the value given here in our formula. Then we have perimeter equal to, this is our 4, multiplied by the length, which is given to us as 5.5. And that is exactly what we have here. So 4 times 5.5 will give us 22.0 centimeters. How did we get that? That is 4 times 5 will give us 20. We write 0, carry 2, place our point. Then 4 times 5 will give us 20, and 20 plus the 2 we carried will give us 22. And that's why we have the solution to that question as 22.0 centimeters as the answer. Then the C part, we have a triangle here. A triangle of varying lengths. Triangle of sides 11 meters, 10 meters, 7 meters. Remember the definition of perimeter. Finding the perimeter of this particular shape, meaning that we have to add all the sides round the shape. And let's have a look at the solution here. Perimeter of a triangle, the formula is given as A plus B plus C. That means adding all the sides of the triangle given. It doesn't matter whether you start with 11, you start with 7, or you start with 10. Whichever one you start with, you add all the three numbers given. That gives you the perimeter of that particular shape. So looking at the one we have here, 7 plus 11 will give us 18. 18 plus 10 will give us 28 meters. And that is the answer to that particular one. Then the D part, here we have a shape, a compound shape, as I may call it, because it contains more than one shape. So therefore, we are to find the distance round the overall parts of this shape. Finding it means that we have to look for the values of the unknown sides, the sides that are not given to us. When you look at the shape closely, you find out that A, B is not given in the question. We have to find the value that will be within A, B. Likewise, BC is not given. So we have to find the value of BC. Also, we need to find the value of GF. By the time we find the values of all these unknown sides, then we cannot add by going round the shape. That is distance round the shape by adding all the sides of the shape. That will now give us AB plus BC plus CD plus DE plus EF plus FG plus GH and plus HA. That is going back to where you started. Now, how do we find the values of these unknown sides? Recall, in a rectangle, we say that opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. Let me make the screen bigger so that you can see it quite clearly. Let me make the screen bigger. So as you can see from the diagram, you find out that FE is equivalent to GD, as you can see, because we say that opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So FE and GD are equal. So if FE is 8 centimeters, then GD should as well be 8 centimeters. But looking at that of GD, it is not given complete. We are being given some part of it. From GH is given to us as 3 and CD is given to us as 3. But we still have some part of it that is not known. That is HC. So we can now say what number must we add to 3 and 3 to give us 8. And that answer is what? 2. That means we need to have 2 here, so that what we have will actually be what? 8 in general. So that when we say FE 8, then we can now say 3 plus 2, 5. 5 plus 3, 8. So therefore, GD is 8 and FE is as well 8. Now looking at this shape now, HC, what can you say about AB? HC is opposite AB. So what do you think is the value of AB? I want you to provide the answer to that before I write it down. Okay, so the answer to that is what? 2. Because opposite sides are equal. So if this place is 2, definitely this side must as well be 2. So we have 2 here also. Alright, so if we have here as 2, we have here as 2, then we still have this place remaining. Okay, and this other side as well. So HA is 2. What can you say about CB? CB should also be what? 2. CB should be 2. So CB is 2. Alright, remaining this side, which is FG. If ED or DE is 2, what will be your FG? Definitely it will be what? 2, because opposite sides are equal. Therefore, we have this place as 2 as well. We have this place as 2. So now we have gotten all the sides. We can now begin to add by saying AB, which is 2, plus BC, which is 2, plus CD, which is 3, plus DE, which is 2, plus EF, which is 8, plus FG, which is 2, plus GH, which is 3, plus HA, which is what? 2. By the time we add all these values, that gives us the perimeter of this compound shape. Now here is where I demonstrated it quite clearly so that you can see it's much clearer. Here are the solutions. That's 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 3, 7, 7 plus 2, 9, 9 plus 8, 17, 17 plus 2 will give us 19, 19 plus 3 will give us 22, 22 plus 2 will give us 24. That means the answer to that question is what? 24 centimeters as the answer. Now let's quickly move to the last question there. That is a circle. The perimeter of the circle. Remember that another name for the perimeter of a circle is the circumference of the circle. Perimeter of the circle, another name for it is what? Circumference of the circle. And when you look at it here, the part of the circle that is given to us is the radius. The radius is what is given to us here. Recall the formula for calculating the circumference of a circle when radius is given is 2 pi radius. 2 pi r, which means radius. Alright, but when diameter is given, you know diameter now, the distance, that's the line that divides the circle into 2 equal parts on both sides of the circumference. That's the one you call diameter. If it's diameter now, we have to use the formula pi times diameter. But now, what is given to us in the question is what? Radius. So, what formula are we to use here? We have to make use of the formula pi, that's a 2 pi r. That's a 2 pi r, 2 pi radius, as you can see from the diagram here. So the perimeter of a circle is equal to 2 pi r. And r is given to us in the question as 28 centimeters. Here is where we demonstrated it here. So perimeter equal to 2. We have it here, 2 over 1 times pi, which is what? 22 over 7 times radius, which is our 28, which is 28 over 1. So we can now cancel. Here 7 divide itself will give us 1. Then 7 divide 28 will give us 4, because 7 times 4 will give us what? 28. Alright, so we now have these numbers left. That is 2 times 22 times 4 will give us what? 176. 2 times 22 is 44. 44 times 4 will give us what? 176 centimeters. So those are the solutions to the assignments you were given. I expect you to write these solutions inside your assignment book as correction, so that as you are bringing the assignment of the one I will be giving you at the end of this lesson, you will show me the corrections to these assignments given before the books will be marked. Now let's move to the main business of today. Week 3, topic, plane shapes. And the main topic here today is areas of plane shapes. You already know the meaning of plane shapes. So what are the objectives of this lesson? Some of the things you are expected to comprehend by the end of this lesson. The objectives. At the end of this learning session, you should be able to 1. Define area of a given plane shape. 2. State the formulas for calculating the areas of a plane shape. 3. Perform calculations on the areas of plane shapes. And 4. Solve word problems on areas of plane shapes. Now let's quickly move to the main body of the lesson today. That is areas of plane shapes. What do we mean by this term, area? Remember, during our last class, we talked about perimeter, where we say that perimeter of a given shape is the distance around the shape. But this time around, we are talking about area. So area is not just the distance around the shape, but the space covered by that particular shape. That is exactly what we call the area. The seat where you are sitting on now, you are covering some space there, right? So the space you are covering is the area of that particular shape that you are sitting on. Are you getting what I'm saying? So I believe with this simpler example, you should be able to now define this area in your own language. So you can see some of you may have something like a rug in your parlor, or maybe something like a carpet in your parlor. That space covered by that rug or carpet is the area of that rug. That is the space covered by that particular shape. Is what we call the area of that given shape. And that's why we define it here very clearly. The area of a given plane shape is the amount of space covered by the shape. So areas are measured in square meters. Is either you call it square meters or you call it meter square. Okay, that is why at the end of every solving, you write your unit as what? Meter squared. But in the case of rectangle, you don't write squared. Okay, all right. So or you also calculate it in terms of centimeter squared or square centimeter, as the case may be. Now let's begin with the first one here. Area formulas. Let's identify the formulas. Area of triangle. The area of triangle. You can see the varying kinds of triangle here. This one is a triangle. This one is a triangle. This one is a right angle triangle. This one is another kind of right angle triangle, but they are double here, as you can see. Okay, now both of them are triangles. So sometimes question may be given to you in this form or in this form. All right, so we give the same approach to both of them. Here, this is the height, the perpendicular height of this triangle, okay, which represents the vertical line. The vertical line that represents the height of this triangle. Then the bottom part of it represents the base, just like we also have it here. This is the base and this is the height. The formula for calculating the area of a triangle is half times base times height. Half times base times height. Or you have it as what? Half BH, which means half times base times height. Half base times height. In abbreviation, you can put it that way. Alright, so that is the formula for calculating the area of a triangle. Now let's quickly move to the next other shapes. Here we have a rectangle. Rectangle has length and the width. The area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. So the formula for calculating the area of a rectangle is length times width, not perimeter. You should be able to differentiate between both of them. That of perimeter, the perimeter of a rectangle, we say is 2 bracket length plus width. Don't confuse the two of them. So, but the area of a rectangle is length times width, because we are trying to cover the space covered by this rectangle, and that is exactly what we call the area. All of this surrounding is called the area of the shape. Okay, then the next one is a square. Remember, a square, all sides are equal. So the area of a square is length squared. Length squared. Unlike this one, we'll say length times width. Then remember that all sides are equal here. So even if you want to say length times length, you are as well saying length squared. And that's exactly what we have here. So the area of a square is equal to length squared. And this length squared means length times length. I hope it's quite clear. Then we move to the next shape, which is a trapezium. Area of a trapezium. You can see trapezium here. It has a slant height, as you can see from this side. This is the height of the trapezium. And these are the two bases. It has base A and it has the base what? B here. Likewise, this one, both of them are same. Both of them are called what? Trapezium. So you can see it in this form, or sometimes you see it in this form. The number placed on top is called the A part. Then the number placed below is the B part. And here is the formula. Area of trapezium is equal to half bracket A, that's the one placed here, plus B, one place down here, times the height. That is the formula for calculating the area of trapezium. You need to have these formulas of upstairs, okay, because I'll be asking you questions on formulas of these various plane shapes. That's the areas of various plane shapes, and you should be able to provide an answer to that. All right, then we move to the next one. That is parallelogram. It has the height, it has the base. So area of parallelogram is base times height. That's the base times height, multiplying the base and the height. That gives you the area of the parallelogram. All right, now moving to the next one, which is a circle. Area of a circle. Area of a circle, the formula is pi r squared. Pi r squared. Sometimes you may be asked to find the area of a given circle whereby diameter is given. If diameter is given in that question, all you do is that you have to convert that diameter to radius. And we know that diameter is the line that cuts across the center of the circle to both sides of the circumference. Meaning that from here to here is radius. From the center to also this other part is radius. So we have two radius in one diameter. So if we have two radius in one diameter, what does that imply? It implies that we can actually get our radius when diameter is given by dividing it by 2. So when we now say diameter is equal to 2 radius, and radius is equal to diameter divided by 2. So if it is given to you as diameter in a question and you are asked to find the area of that particular circle, all you do is to change that diameter towards radius by dividing it by 2. Though we'll still look at that as we go further. Here we have semicircle. The area of semicircle. That word semicircle means half a circle. So if the formula for calculating the area of semicircle is pi r squared, then the area of semicircle should be half pi r squared. I hope it's quite clear. Alright, then this is called a sector. Like when you cut your orange into 4 equal parts, you have different sectors of it. Okay, so the formula for finding the area of a sector, of which in that sector you have a radius here, you have this as the radius. Okay, you also have this side as the radius, because this place represents the center of the circle. From the center of the circle to any part of the circumference is called radius. So this is the radius of this particular sector. So the formula for calculating the area of a sector is, this is the theta here. This symbol here is called theta. That represents the angle. Okay, so the formula is theta, as we have it here, over 360. Why do we divide it by 360? Because we are considering angle in a circle, angle at a point. So it should be, because this is part of the circle. Okay, theta over 360 times pi r squared. Why do we use pi r squared? Because it's actually in a circular form. So that's why we have it, the area of a sector, as theta over 360 times pi r squared. That is the formula for calculating the area of a sector. Even though we may not be doing calculations on the area of a sector, you need to understand these formulas. In case it is being asked during the exam, you should be able to know the formula for calculating the area of a sector. Let's quickly move to the next one for today. Here we now give some examples. Find the areas of the following shapes. Here we have two kinds of rectangle. Number one, rectangle of length 6, width 5 centimeters. Then solution. The length is given to us as 6 centimeters. The width is given as 5 centimeters. The area of a rectangle is length times width. So what do? We multiply the two quantities here. That will now give us 6 times 5, which will give us 30 centimeter squared. Remember the unit, centimeter squared. We use centimeter squared because in the question we are being given centimeters there. Okay, if you are being given meters, like in the case of this one, then you place it as what? Meter squared. Now let's take a look at this. Here we have another question, and that is the length of this rectangle is 5.5 and the width is 2.2 meters, 3.2 meters, sorry. Then the length is 5.5 meters, width is 3.2 meters. How do we solve this? That's length times width. As you have it here, 5.5 times 3.2. We can solve this by converting this 5.5 to fraction. You know how we do that. This point representing 1, then the other number following is 0. That will give us 55 over 10 as we have it here times. Let me make it bigger so that you can see it quite clearly. Okay, so as you can see here, that is 55 over 10 times. Then in the case of this one, 3.2, converting it to fraction, we have 32 over 10. So how do we solve this? We can multiply out the top and multiply out the downward. So we have 55 times 32, which will give us 1760, divided by 10 times 10 will give us what? 100. Then 0 cancel 0. We are left with 176 over 10. So if we drive with this 0 here coming to this side, that will now give us 17.6 meter squared as our answer. So we move to the other examples. That is number 3. Here we have the area of a square. Area of a square. You can see the square here. Square of length 4 meters. So the length is 4 meters. The area of a square is given to us as length squared. Okay, or length raised to power 2. So area, which is length squared, equal to length times length. Therefore, area is equal to, in place of our length, we write our 4. And because our length is squared, we square our 4, which also means 4 times 4. And 4 times 4 will give us what? 16 meter squared as our answer. I hope it's quite clear. Let me explain again. Here you have the length, 4 meters. The area of a square is length raised to power 2, or length squared. Then area, as I explained it in the short form here, that length squared, which means length times length. Then area is equal to, in place of our length, we write 4, which is 4, and we square it just like our length is squared, equal to 4 times 4, which represents 4 squared here. And the answer is what? 16 meter squared. Here we have a triangle. This is the height of the triangle, 6 centimeters. And this is the base of the triangle, which is what? 2 centimeters. Here we demonstrate it. Area of triangle, which is equal to half times base times height. Okay? Half times base times height. Then the area is what we are looking for. The height is given to us as 6 centimeters. The base is given to us as 2 centimeters. Then let's apply it in our formula here. This is our half, as we have it here, half, then times base. And our base here is what? That is 2. Okay, we place it here, but it doesn't matter. Then 2 over 1. Then the height is given to us as what? 6. And that's 6 over 1. It doesn't matter how you place it. It's always, it will always give you the correct answer, the same answer. Because I know you will be expecting it to come first. You can have it as half height times base, or half base times height. They are all the same. So we have it here. That's the 1 over 2 times. That's the half times 6 over 1 times 2 over 1. Then 2. We cancel 2 here. Then you are left with what? 1 times 6. Which we have here. 1 times 6 will give us what? 6 centimeter squared as our answer. And that's the answer to this question. Then we move to the next one. This is another type of a triangle. Here we have the height 5 centimeters. And the base is 8 centimeters. Sometimes you may see this arrow indicating from this place to this other side. That does not represent the entire base, and that's why I use this arrow to indicate that this base represents from this end to this other vertex point here. Alright, so that is to say the base is 8. As you can see, the height is 5 centimeters, the base is 8 centimeters. The area is what we are looking for, half base times height. Then we now have it as area equal to half times base, that's the 8 over 1, times height, which is what? 5 over 1. Here we can cancel. 2 dividing itself will give us 1. 2 divide 8 will give us what? 4. We give us 4. 2 divide 8 will give us 4. and we now have 4 and 5 left. So we can now say 4 times 5 will give us what? 20 centimeter squared as our answer. Alright. Then for that of a circle, here we have circle of radius 7 centimeters. And the area of a circle is what? Pi r squared. And remember that pi, the value of our pi is 22 over 7. As we have it here, pi 22 over 7 times our radius, which is what? 7. So we write 7. And because our radius is squared, so we have to square our 7. So when we do that, we now have area equal to 22 over 7, as we have it here, times. This 7 squared means 7 times 7. So we can now cancel out 7 divide 7. We give us 1. Then we are left with what? 22 times 7. 22 times 7 will give us what? 154 centimeter squared as our answer. Good. I hope we are moving smoothly. Then let's move to the next one. Here we have number 7, and that is parallelogram. This is a parallelogram of height 4 centimeters and base 6 centimeters, as we have it here. The area of parallelogram is base times height. So we multiply 6 by 4, as we have it here, and it will give us what? 24 centimeter squared. Now, number 8, we have a trapezium. Okay, trapezium, we have the A part of it, just like we explained previously, as 6 meters. Then the B part of it, 14 meters. Then the height is 7 meters. The area of calculating trapezium, that's the area of a trapezium, is given as half bracket A plus B times height. Let's apply the whole of these values in our formula here. Then we'll now have it as area equal to half, as we have it here, open bracket, in place of our A, that is 6, plus, in place of our B, that is 14, okay, times, in place of our height, which is here, we have what? 7. You substitute the values accurately, the way they are being stated. So here we have half, as we have it here, times, remember the bracket before any number, okay, is multiplication. So we have it as multiplied by the sum of the numbers we have in the bracket. 6 plus 14 will give us what? 20. That's why we write it as what? 20 over 1 times 7, as we have here. That's 7 over 1. 7 over 1 and 7, they are the same thing, because 7 divided by 1 is the same thing as 7. So we have it as half times 6 plus 14, 20 over 1 times 7 over 1. So we can divide now. 2 divide itself, then 2 divide 20 will give us what? 10. That will give us 10, as we have it below. It will give us 10. Sorry, the way I wrote my 0. Then we now have 10 times 7 left, which is 10 times 7, and it will give us what? 70 meters squared. And that is the answer to that particular one. So we move to the last point of it here. We move to the last point. That is word problems. Word problems. Here are the questions. Number 1. The question says, find the length of a rectangle whose area is 48 meters squared. We are looking for the length of the rectangle whose area is given as what? 48 meters squared, and the width is also given as what? 6 meters. So what we are looking for in this question is the length. Okay, we are coming to that. Then number 2, if the area of parallelogram is 144 meters squared, if the area of parallelogram is 144 meters squared and the base is 12 meters, find the height of the parallelogram. Okay, we are looking for the height in the case of parallelogram here. Then number 3, find the height of a triangle whose area is 28 centimeters squared and the base is given to us as 14 centimeters. So we are looking for the height here. So always highlight the particular one you are looking for. We are looking for the height as far as this one is concerned. Then for the number 4, find the length of a square whose area is 25 centimeters square. So here we are looking for the length. We are looking for the length of this shape. Alright, so for the first one, we are looking for the length of the rectangle. Then the second question, we are looking for the height. Okay, so try to know the ones we are looking for. Now let's move to the solutions to the questions. Number one, they say find the length of a rectangle whose area is 48 meters squared and the width 6 meters. Just bring out the information. We are looking for the length. That's why we put question mark there, because they say find the length. Then the width is given to us as 6 meters. Okay, as given in the question. And the area is given to us as 48 meters squared, as we have it here. Then remember the formula for calculating the area of a rectangle, because what we are talking about here is a rectangle and in connection with what? Area. So we use the formula of area of what? A rectangle in finding the solution to this. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. Let's now substitute the values. In place of our area, we write 48 equal to, length is what we are looking for, so we write it like that, times the width is given to us as what? 6. So we replace it with 6. So we can now say 48 is equal to length times 6 will give us 6 length. Okay, divide both sides by the coefficient of L. The coefficient of L here is 6. So we divide this side by 6. That's 48 over 6 times. That should be equal to, not times. That's equal to, as we have it here, equal to 6L over 6, because we are dividing both sides by the coefficients of what? Length, which is 6. So 6, we cancel out 6, as we have it here. Then we are left with what? Length, as we have it here. Then 48 divided by 6 will give us what? 8 meters, because 8 times 6 will give us 48. So 48 divided by 6 will give us what? 8 meters as our answer. Then number 2, if the area of parallelogram is 144 meters square and the base is given to us as 12 meters, find the height. We are looking for the height. So the base is given to us as 12 meters. Height is what we are looking for. The area is given to us as what? 144 meters square. So the formula for finding the area of parallelogram is base times height, because what we are talking about here is area of parallelogram. So we use its formula. All right. Then 144 in place of the area as given is equal to, base is given to us as 12. So we write it times the height is what we are looking for. So we write it, bring it down like that. So here we have 144 times, that's a 12 times h, we give us 12h. So dividing by the coefficients of h, which is 12, that will now give us height is equal to 144 divided by 12, and height will now be what? 12 centimeters, because 12 times 12 will give us 144. So 144 divided by 12 will give us what? 12 centimeters. You will not be putting squared here, because this is not the area. You are asked to find the height and not the area. If you are looking for the area, that's when you put meter squared. But in case of height, you write it as what? Centimeters. Okay, that's the meter. It's given in meters, sorry. That should be in meters here, as we have it. That's the 12 meters as the answer. Now, let's move to the next solution. That's number 3 now. Question number 3 says, find the height of a triangle whose area is 28 centimeters square and base of 14 centimeters. So we are looking for the height, okay, because they find the height. The height is what we are looking for. The area is given to us as 28 centimeters square. The base is given to us as 14. So let's substitute the values here. Area, in place of area, we'll write the value given to us as the area, which is 28, as we have it here, equal to half times 14 is the base, okay, and the height is what we are looking for. So we'll write it this way. So here we have our 28 is equal to half, as we have here, times 14 over 1, which is something as 14, times height, which is height over 1. So let's cancel as much as we can. So that's the 2 dividing 14. We give us 7. We give us 7. Okay, so we are now having 7 and h remaining at this side. So we have our 28 is equal to 1 times 7. We give us 7. 7 times h, we give us 7h, as we have it here. So dividing both sides by the coefficients of h here, which is 7. So that will now give us h is equal to 28 divided by 7. And 28 divided by 7 will give us 4, because 4 times 7 will give us 28. So the height will now be 4 centimeters as our answer. Then the last one here, last one of the question as given above, is find the length of a square whose area is 25 centimeters square. The area is given to us as 25 centimeters square. The length is what we are looking for of a square. So the formula for finding the area of a square, because what is being mentioned here is the area of a square. Okay, so area of a square is equal to length squared. That is the formula, and the area is given to us as 25 equal to length squared. Remember that length squared means length times length. Remember that. So which number will you times to itself to give you 25? The answer is 5. Therefore, you apply square root on both sides. That square root will cancel this our square here. So you now have length remaining here, right? So apply the square root here now. That will now be square root of 25. And the length will give us, square root of 25 will give us what? 5 centimeters as the answer. Alright, so that's the solution to those ones. Now let's move to other examples. Here we have a question here. The question says, find the area of the shaded portion of the shape below. We are looking for the area of the shaded portion. Imagine this shape to be the parlor of your house. This place to be the parlor of your house. And this happens to be the table that is covering some part of this parlor. And you are asked to find the area of this parlor not covered by the table. It's just like saying, find the area of the shaded portion. That means this portion that is not part of this side that is shaded, we have to remove it. Okay? Meaning that we have to find the area of the overall shape. We find the area of this inner side that is not shaded. Then when we now find the area of a shaded portion, it will now be area of the overall shape minus the area of the smaller shape inside that is not shaded. So this is how we solved it. So we find the area of the bigger rectangle. This is the bigger rectangle, the one given in yellow color. Okay, so that's the length of it is 10 centimeters and the width of it is what? 5 centimeters. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. That will give us 10 times 5 and to give us 50 centimeter square. Then the area of the smaller rectangle, the one that is not shaded inside here, you have it as what? 4 centimeters as length and 3 centimeters as the width. So the length 4 centimeters, the width 3 centimeters. The area of a rectangle there, length times width, which is 4 times 3, and it will give us 12 centimeters squared. Now finding the area of the shaded portion of this entire shape. The area of the shaded portion is area of the bigger rectangle minus the area of the smaller rectangle, the one that is inside that is not shaded. Alright, so that will now give us 50 minus 12, which will give us 38 centimeter squared, and that is the answer to that particular one. Then the last question here. Here we have a compound shape. I labeled it as A. Sometimes you may be given a shape like this. Then for you to find the answer to this, just similar to the one I gave you last time, to find in the form of perimeter. So we need to know the sides that are not given. This side, as we have explained in our previous example, as you have 8 here, this side should also be 8, right? And we have been given some part of it as 3 and the other part 3. That 3 plus 3 is 6. So remove 6 from 8. What will be remaining is from here to here, which will give us what? 2. Okay? If we have this place as 2, that's 2 meters, as you have others. 2 meters, as you have it here. So therefore, the shape A has the length 2 and the width 2. So what do you think of this shape to be? This shape is what? A square. Because this side is equal to 2 and this side is also equal to 2. Likewise, this side should also be 2 because opposite sides are equal. This side should also be 2. So area of a square applies here. Alright, for the length of this particular, the length of this rectangle here is from here to here, which is what? 8. And the width is like this, which is 2. So let's find the area of the overall shape here. Alright, the area of shape A, which is a square, the length is 2 meters rather, and the area of a square is length squared, which means 2 squared, as we have our length squared, which means 2 times 2, and it will give us 4 meter squared. Then area of a shape B, which is a rectangle, so the length of it is 8 meters and the width is 2. So finding the area will give us 8 times 2, which will give us 16 meters squared. Then total area, that means finding the overall area of this shape. That will now give us area of A plus area of B, which is 4 plus 16, as we have gotten the answers here, which will give us 20 meter squared. So this is the end of the lesson for today. And let's have a quick look at the summary of the whole thing that we've been able to discuss today. Then the summary of it. Area of rectangle is given as length times width. Area of square is given as length squared, which means length times length. Area of a triangle is given as half base times height. Area of a circle is given as pi r squared. Area of parallelogram is given as base times height. Area of trapezium is given as half bracket a plus b times height. Then area of a semicircle is half pi r squared. Then area of a sector is given as what? Theta over 360 times pi r squared. And this is the end of our lesson for today. Remember, I will ask you questions on the various formulas for calculating the areas of plane shapes. Ensure you grab these formulas, learn them, so that by the time I ask you a question on them, you should be able to give me an answer to that. So here we come to the end of our lesson today, and here are your assignments. You are to calculate the areas of the following shapes. I say goodbye to you and have a blessed day ahead. Bye.